Hello, everybody, and welcome to TBC Central. My name is Nancy, and I am your host for today. Today, we're going to start part one of two-part the movie, The Pacific Way Story. It's a struggling for a better living, squatters in Fiji, part one of two. So let's go ahead and get this going.
These people don't have rights because they don't know that they have rights. These people have the right to life. And that is a basic right where all these things fit in. The right to housing, the right to education, the right to water, the right to electricity, and all the rights. Because you have the right to life. And that is in our constitution, the right to life.
बहुत दुख से अपन लड़के को पाला सबके पाल के बड़ा करा अभी चल रहा था दुख सबके पाल के बड़ा कर अभी तो हम लड़का है बस लड़का का आश्रम
daw rin ito nga may na housing authority sa Bilbino ang Sauniren dili na matawayan doon na housing ako na nung sa nagsumay may siguro o magtubatikira para baka talaga may nang sa libangan.
But many of them are living there at the will of the landowner, and maybe there are some sort of economic arrangements made to satisfy the landowner. But in general, people speak about squatters as being anybody who lives in that informal settlements throughout the country.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. We're going to start this over again. We had a little bit of technical difficulty, so we're going to start this over again. Let's see if we could get this straightened out here. There we go.
These people don't have rights because they don't know that they have rights. These people have the right to life. And that is a basic right where all these things fit in. The right to housing, the right to education, the right to water, the right to electricity, and all the rights. Because you have the right to life. And that is in our constitution, the right to life.
हम बहुत दुख से अपन लड़के को पाला सबके पाल के बड़ा करा अभी चल रहा था दुख सबके पाल के बड़ा कर अभी तो हम लड़का है बस लड़का का आश्रम
daw rin ito nga may na housing authority sa Bilbino ang Sauniren dili na matawayan doon na housing ako na nung sa nagsumay may siguro o magtubatikira para baka talaga may nang sa libangan.
But many of them are living there at the will of the landowner, and maybe there are some sort of economic arrangements made to satisfy the landowner. But in general, people speak about squatters as being anybody who lives in that informal settlements throughout the country.
A squatter is a person who is in occupation of a state freehold or native land illegally or without any form of security of tenure without any consent from the landowners.
By 2006, approximately 12.5% of Fiji's population is living in over 182 squatter settlements around the country. The Western Division is home to 80 settlements. The Central and Eastern Divisions have 72, and in the Northern Division, squatter settlements number 30. The Greater Suva area continues to have the highest squatter population. In the 6 years from 1999 to 2005, the number of squatter settlements has almost doubled. A large portion of this increase is attributed to the expiry of 5,661 leases affecting 28,300 households. Other reasons for moving to and living in these settlements vary, from seeking better education, opportunities to searching for jobs, and being closer to proper health facilities.
Some of these squatters have been living in their settlements for more than 40 years, and they think that it's like that is how it should be. But what we try and do is we are trying to minimize the flow of all those who want to dwell in a squatter settlement.
इस अवस्था पे हम लोग बहुत दुख उठाया छोटा मोटा, लेकिन फिर भी उस दुख के कुछ परवाह नहीं करते हुए भूखे नहीं रहा, अपन कमा करके अब किसी के चोरी नहीं किया, अपना पसीना गार के और बा के आसपास में रहा. If I got no money, I can't do anything. Look this house. First of all, this I got no chair to let you sit down.
Kita tinggal komentar dan tu balik. Kasih timpin. Satu timpin. Itu sangkai sama. Kau ngalong kau lili buat atau kau sana kan tu? Kita sangkai me tay. Kita sangkai me bulung kan ikai yang kan tapai. Itu sangkai me bulu tu. Tar satu nanti balik. Na kita undiu korma balita kita meeting karam. Kami aluma ni roong ni roong matu. Macam ngabenda na tutu. Hindi misalnya enggak ni orang karabi na. Sama ni lakukan na korna kan sinse zaman deki ker-kerbe na tanderan ni sama bangkar barawa kesu. Iman dito sa rende sana ni tutu ni sa kakatuan kamban ni tutai. Avia tabi roro tu ay labo ni darawa tamay batikin ay dur ni ngone ni artolia vacha bitirao letulur to sa secondary nanti sa primary. Ya kambengan daw kita start dengan batangan itu ay sa Berlin 2 batilan ni ro sangatu mera puli leson yang naka batali beliba. Na berbenga metanga dengan tu mesta betok tinan dur ngangon.
Kami kutu me kono ya saneng kelim mo kono dende to kana kono ya ngau na endo satu ko dende na kita to bole me tulo maile ani tu bali kina ngon sala libu kono ando kina tina na kulta pitie kono ya ando me kono kina me da kalambasa yo to saya tadi kami dende kono ya posible ya buli ni ngone kono lewa bulti ko si mulai lalu punya lewat, yo sangkai sangat memai tiga puluh bola ke tahun ni, orani tos kena ko tazaka abinaka posible na building on.
In In 1955, the then government of Fiji was advised that it had to address the increasing demands for housing in the urban areas, as the demand in Suva at the time had already far outgrown itself to accommodate housing needs. As a result, the Fiji Housing Authority was established in 1955 to assist low-income bracket households secure reasonable and decent housing. 15 years later, a Catholic priest, Father Dermot Hurley, saw the growing numbers of people who were destitute, so together with the Fiji Council of Churches, established the Housing Assistance Relief Trust, known as HART.
It all sounded so good, an ideal graduation that people could step from HART to Public Rental Board to Housing Authority. But the trouble was, because there was a lack of employment and because, as I mentioned before, wages were so low, people got stuck all the way along. So the whole, if you like, economic situation of people who were in poor situations didn't improve. Poverty increased, inequality increased. So in fact, the ideal system just didn't work. Very few were able to walk up the ladder.
There's an issue there with Housing Authority and its ability to continue to provide affordable housing. We need to then link up with the poverty report. We seriously must take a look at low wages as a contributing factor for people's inability to afford housing in Suva. A major proportion of our working population live in poverty. So you're talking about the regulation of the housing market. That's an issue that needs to be investigated. Most of these squatters were former tenants of this housing authority flats. And with the high cost of rent, they are unable to afford. So they come to the squatter settlement and just build with what little they earn. Most of them are earning below $5,000 a year. And think of feeding their families 3 times a day, school children's education. It's a bit hard for them. And with us, with our program, we try and empower them to see ways for them to have creative ideas of helping themselves.
Sasintara ng bulan na isaw ni tamatatatak. Narota na ng bulan ni soma na vani, soma na kana, soma na itulutulu. Non revila ko akin na ngone, non remondo boto. O kila na kaya sa taran non rembula sa rabangara na po no meron retiuki na meron ni retimubo ng bulan.
जब हमने 2000 जो 31 दिसंबर को जब हमने यहाँ पर आए और 1-2 हफ्ता ऐसे रहे तो घर पर हमारे जो छत है, छत नहीं था, टीन जो है ऊपर नहीं था, सिर्फ खाली किनारे किनारे हम लोग कुछ ना कुछ घेर घार के रहे क्योंकि अपने परिवार को जिलाने की था। उसी समय फिर हमने प्रार्थना किया, विनती किया, सब चीज करने के बाद हमने सोचा कि किस प्रकार से हम लोग की जिंदगी गुजरेगा और वेसारू लौट के हम जा नहीं सकते। हम सबको लीज जो है हमारी वो एक्सपायर हो गया था। जब लीज एक्सपायर होने के बाद वो बहुत दुख और बहुत दर्दनाक समय था।
Residents of these informal settlements have different explanations for their presence, but an overwhelming majority cite education and the need for a regular source of cash. For those who work, most, if not all, earn salaries below the poverty line. Expiring land leases triggered the recent mushrooming of squatter settlements in the country. 2001 was one of the worst years when 13,100 leases expired, affecting about 22,000 people.
हमारे पिताजी के रहा, पिताजी हमारे गुजर गए, जाति भाई लोग जमीन के ले लेंगे ना, तो फिर हम लोग फिर वहाँ से फिर चले आवा, जब वो लोग नहीं देना ना तो हम लोग चले आवा। जब हम तुआ में आवा पहला साल, हम वहाँ पे 1 साल गन्ना काटा, वहाँ पे गन्ना काट के बाद में तो फिर हम ऐसे अपने आप के परिवर्तन कराना कि हम कोई ऐसे नौकरी करी, कोई व्यवसाय करी कि हमारे लड़के बच्चे तब हम उसके पाल सकी ना। जैसे हम लोग छोटा मोटा जैसे पैसा वैसा जैसे बचा के रखी थे ना, तो वही हम लोग के सिलक में काम आ जाए, फिर छोटा मोटा ऐसे तरकारी बेच लेते हैं, फिर वही वाला हम लोग के चल जाए ऐसे ना।
Incentive packages can be provided to encourage even businesses relocating to rural areas, to rural towns, economically run-down areas of Fiji. These incentives are not new things. It can come in terms of tax cuts, in terms of subsidies, in terms of infrastructural development, roads, providing, and that will be the role of government to provide these things. It's not a new concept. As we look around us, we can see a similar concept in the Look North policy for Vanuatu in Mombasa, the economically run-down areas. But unfortunately, this promise in the Look North policy has not really been followed through by commitment in resources from government. And this is sadly also missing from only the recent November 2007 budget.
सोचता तो है ना, रोज की तो सोचे पड़े ना कि आज बीत गए, बिहार पता नहीं कैसे बीते ना, ऐसे आगे के बारे में सोचे पड़े। हम लोग तो बीते हैं, देखो अभी इतना दुख काट के तो हम लोग बिता लिया है, अब आगे चल के भी हम लोग कैसे ही करे पड़ी। अभी तो चलाता है, कोई भी हिसाब से लोग अपन चलाता है ना, चाहे सूखा भी खाए के अपन लड़के हम लोग पढ़ाता है। लेकिन जब एकदम ऐसे पानी नहीं बरसे लगे तो हम लोग के तो काम नहीं हुए, जब काम नहीं हुए तो बहुत तकलीफ हो जाए हम लोग।
Everyone in this country has rights. If you're a citizen of this country, and even if you're a resident of this country, you have rights, and those rights are protected in the Constitution. So it would be erroneous to assume that just because you're squatters, or just because you're on the margins of society or on the fringes of society, that you don't have access to rights. And the reason why the Human Rights Commission is here is because it was set up in 1999 to protect everyone's rights. Now, with respect to squatters, I mean, it's a huge problem. I think governments in the past have grappled with the influx of people coming into the urban areas. And my view is that one should never see squatters as a small problem of just squatters. It really reflects what else is going on in society. And it reflects things like the economic base of society. It reflects whether we have social welfare provisions, whether we have safety nets in place, so that if people are for some reason evicted, let's say, or being a part of the urban drift, and that if they're no longer able to fend for themselves or to find a place to live, whether we have appropriate mechanisms in place to be able to look after them. So it is, in fact, very much a rights issue.
When leases are not sorted out, you still play politics with the land issue. The whole thing feeds onto another, and the secondary industries and the people working there are affected.
Rajan Avikash is a 13-year-old who assists his family by selling corn during the weekends.
Like that, every time I treat the extra people, then I can not go around it. When I will grow up, then I cannot go around it like that. I just build one shop and put some fish like that.
Tukurana kurna bulti na kalashul. Berawatan na mobile number sa bangkaran na mo na milibul kinalmin. Sorsa ngol men bala sora ngol men libur la kuman kita nang kami red libur red kita bau kalau mata kita sta mandana wannan bo shan tadare so matanga ngo so dona tabal yang terus na makasauti kasi sa mitun na bali sa tao tun na taka kay rent sa puno ko na to ni bali to sa banga kasi tun ni gulo tun ben
sa kale chukuri kimi na me chubango le bunga lenga sa tona roka wela na dini ni kimi me da roka wela we sa tuni biroro na so nimbulu man ko pin satu sta chunga na so ni rent lo tungo sasaran ni kimi me tungo sa tona so ni rent
Mereka vangu nanon ramju benako sandui orang nanti lugar narabuli ragai kes fagai beli koro ramai gogo sinon rabai arasin rawatin sauni bale banan rau ragai kere
When my lease expired, that time I had too much free. Because myself, I'm father, and I married all my children there, and I make the house there, 3 houses there. When lands and house all go finished, then you people know what happened with us that time. It's very bad time. Landowner came and he take one notice and he gave us notice. He told, okay, you people go out from here. Then I kere, landowner, please, only give me house block. You take all the lands. Lands is yours. Only give me house block. Then no. They not agree. They told no, you have to go. That's why we came here.
You will find a lot of these people who actually had been living on land for 30, 60 years, for a very long time, almost a century now, actually have nowhere to go. And there isn't a mechanism in place or some kind of fallback position in place that the governments can say to them, well, look, your lease is going to expire in 5 years' time and you're not going to get this renewed. What are you thinking of doing? And they would say, well, we don't know. Can the government help us? And the government would say, okay, these people are going to be thrown into probably the urban centers and are likely to squat. Can we set aside some land, maybe on a much longer term, this term with the landowners or crown land or whatever it is, to ensure that these people aren't squatting somewhere else and becoming a social problem for the whole of society. So I think we need to go right back to say whether or not there are any policies in place. And I just honestly, to be frank, I don't see any policies in place. We seem to be looking at the problem after it has occurred rather than trying to prevent it.
Another type of squatting that exists in Fiji is often referred to as vakavanua. These are verbal agreements between people in need of a dwelling place and landowners. While these settlements are usually in much better shape than most other urban squatter settlements, verbal agreements are discouraged by authorities as there is no protection should landowners start charging or increasing rentals at will. One such Vagavanua settlement is Sowili Settlement, established in 1929 by Apollo Sinawai.
Na navamadhalavia na nuguloni wali ni tukuno tamana nangelengo tusele manitokeni nora istaingo na maduku na solo mertu tawana tiko na koroko iwai mertu kanakina I vanua mertitikina kaya sama ni bitunga kina na yalo saratunga saraweli tugunista ili saratu bisul sulina tokeningele matikiratu na maitawi abutio santungu ne pisauti sange ado mebikito ko sange dini tu paipo liba sati ko bikito sabi mama nga so di ko na liba so senga natamba na tayo ko nga nilabo sabi mama telenga so sava paipotiko so sesenga senga tu kana paipo ya nakata udo ko ngakim sa sisi lengai wai sava wai na wani kaka na telengai wai nakakide nga sakit telengai wili.
The illegal status of squatter settlements prevents households from accessing essential services like electricity, roads, drainage, and sewerage systems. But subdivisional development plans by the Housing and Squatter Settlement Unit include all these in their lots. Between 1992 and 2000, 10 major subdivisional projects were completed involving the development of 1,572 lots accommodating some 7,500 people. The Squatter Settlement Unit recently acquired 45 acres, which is being developed into 322 lots, scheduled to be ready by December 2006. In 2007, the unit hopes to acquire another 65 acres. But increasing settlement populations and the standard of 200 square meter lots means that not everybody is accommodated.
So this planned program which we had to resettle squatters, it's not working. Definitely no. Because these places are overcrowded, very densely populated, and very difficult to develop with sitting tenants or squatters. So this is the way to go. Acquire vacant land and shift people. We give them something better because instead of sitting on a 40 to 50 square meter lot, they can occupy lots which are now about 400 to 600 square meter. So they can have some backyard gardening, a very secure place. So this is the way we are encouraging people, squatters, to move to new areas. So we do our own assessment. We find that yes, 50% of the people are below the poverty line. And that's why we got these various schemes.
Is squatting an individual problem or individual failure, or is it an institutional failure? By the look of things, this squatting problem is not an individual failure where people choose to come. Okay, say for example, if you look at the trend of the housing people should start from hut and then save up enough money to move to PRB, to save up enough money and then be able to buy something of their own, which is something from housing authority. But that trend it's really good. But when we look at how public rental board or housing is running at the moment, they are mostly a profit making organization. It's no longer there for the benefit of the low income earners. So people are stuck where they are. So by doing that, they flock in to this squatter settlement. Okay. So we ask ourselves, whose fault is that?
Okay, that's it for part one. We'll do part two tomorrow. I just wanted to say I created this channel to raise awareness for the people in need. Those people might include homeless, runaways, people living below poverty, drug users who are trying to get clean, etc. There are numerous people in so many categories which need to be brought to the forefront. If you have what you need to be grateful, as there are so many that do not have. I'm not saying that the rich should support everyone, but I want to make it clear, with proper planning, education, and the support of everyone to help with changing mindsets, we can make a difference. We will never eradicate the poor because, believe it or not, it's a big moneymaker for governments. Just like Big Pharma will never release all the medications or treatments that would cure so many people and with their diseases, because they would lose a majority of the major profits in doing so. My prayer for everyone is that God will provide everyone peace, love, abundance, health, happiness, and a good life. Be grateful and have a blessed day. I'll catch you tomorrow.